What's up, y'all, and welcome to Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. The league continues to doubt Jalen Hurts, but this will only give him more power. Watch as we take this episode to dive deep down into the most recent quarterback rankings from NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. All right, y'all, before we dive into the full discussion, I just want to acknowledge a listener of the podcast. So, I have this host site that tells me the statistics of my audio episode from the downloads, like how much they are, where they are in the world, etc. There is a listener in New Jersey that I think has recently discovered the show and has downloaded at least the last 97 episodes, all within a very short time span. I'm talking maybe a week or two. It could be one listener. It is possible that it is multiple, but from the way it looks like one person is just downloading a shitload of episodes in a short time span within that specific town in New Jersey. And I just want to thank that person so much for being an active listener. If you are that listener listening right now, and you can tell me the town name that you are listening from because I know which one it is, please reach out to me on social media so I can thank you personally myself. Okay, y'all, the topic of this week's episode. I just don't know why this is still a thing and why this bullshit narrative about our quarterback is being spread across the league despite all the numerous, and I mean numerous, achievements that he has acquired. Sometimes I get tired of talking about it, but at the same time, to me, it is important that I try and defend my favorite team's quarterback when bullshit like this comes across his way. But anyway, let's go into the discussion. So, most Eagles fans know this by now, but if you're new to Eagles fandom, it's no real secret that our QB1 Jalen Hurts has made tremendous strides in the NFL, achieving accolades such as most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a season, which technically is shared with Josh Allen, but still, all pro status, two Super Bowl appearances, one Super Bowl win, and a Super Bowl MVP. Yet, even with all these and plenty more achievements, such as most rushing yards and most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a Super Bowl, day in and day out, he continues to be disrespected across the league. In the most recent example of stupidity and disrespect slash underestimation of Jalen Hurts, the NFL released its top 10 quarterbacks going into 2025, which again comes from NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. This list goes as follows. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Josh Allen. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Jaden Daniels. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Number 7, Justin Herbert. Number 8, Jared Goff. Number 9, Jalen Hurts. And number 10, Baker Mayfield. You're fucking kidding me, right? The Super Bowl MVP goes into the 2025 season ranked as the ninth best quarterback? This is absolutely asinine, y'all. Look, I'm not going to be completely biased. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, yes. I do believe that they are ahead of Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to complain about that. But the other ones, I'm not so sure. Jaden Daniels has performed phenomenally. One of the best quarterback rookie seasons I think this league has seen in a long time, if ever. But does this warrant an automatic top 5 indication? And don't even get me fucking started with Justin Herbert. I wish this Herbert over Hurts debacle would just die off. I don't get why people think Justin Herbert is still better than Jalen Hurts. We will dive into that a little later on, but I want to take this time to look at this ranking list and discuss what I think are some of the biggest reasons people would justify the spot Jalen Hurts is at, and I will attempt to debunk them. Okay, so one of the biggest, if not the top reason Why a lot of people continue to downplay Jalen Hurts and could justify his number 9 ranking on this list is that a lot of people still say he doesn't pass the ball or that he can't pass the ball. What they really mean is that Hurts doesn't have the passing stats that some of these other quarterbacks have that are being like glazed essentially. They argue that Hurts hasn't had a season with more than 4,000 passing yards and that he didn't have a 3,000-yard passing season this past season, both of which are true. I will not argue the truth within that. An offense that has a strong run game, though, including from both their running back and their quarterback, it naturally can lead to less passing attempts. It's just that's how it is sometimes. However, even without a 4,000-yard passing season, Jalen was still first in the NFL in passing grade from a clean pocket, second in pass completion percentage, third in passing yards per game, and fifth in passer rating. Those three last stats all from the pocket. Third overall in completion percentage versus man coverage. First in the NFL in passer completion over expected. Fourth in fewest interceptions amongst starting QBs. Eighth in overall pass completion percentage, which is higher than Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert. He was sixth in best interception percentage ratio, which again, above Patrick Mahomes, above Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, and Baker Mayfield, and 11th in percentage of touchdowns thrown when attempting to pass, which is better than, again, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford. And the list goes on and on, y'all. But nope, people want to look at only yards and passing touchdowns when it comes to determining who is the better overall quarterback. God forbid total touchdowns are considered. When you consider total touchdowns, Jalen ranks eighth amongst all starting quarterbacks. However, Jalen produced more total touchdowns and did so in less games than Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Matthew Stafford, all of whom rank above Jalen Hurts from this list. Yet, all we fucking hear about is that Jalen only had 2,900 passing yards and never had a 4,000 passing yards season. However, yards without results don't do a damn thing. Having a shit ton of passing yards, but not having enough touchdowns or playoff appearances or Super Bowl appearances or Super Bowl wins, yada, yada, yada. Basically, any accolade that shows a high level of achievement in the NFL, that is like having a Roth IRA with 10K in it, but not investing any of it and letting it sit there without growth. It's pointless. If you can win a football game only throwing for 200 yards and do that multiple times in a row, why should it matter if he's not throwing for 4,000 yards per season? Why the fuck does that specifically matter? Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, all great passing quarterbacks with a lot of passing yards. I'm not going to argue that. None of them have a Super Bowl win, let alone a Super Bowl appearance, minus Joe Burrow, of course, to show for it. Justin Herbert, who is ranked above Jalen Hurts, only had 3 more passing touchdowns than Hurts, yet he is 0-3 in total playoff games and has thrown as many touchdowns as interceptions, 5 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, while Hurts is 6-3 in the playoffs and has 20 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. If this list was ranking the best passers or the best person to throw the football, then sure, based upon the numbers, Jalen's lower ranking could be justified. But being a quarterback isn't just about throwing the ball. Quarterbacks need to have the ability to run the ball too. With the exception of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and I'll even throw Jaden Daniels in there, no current starting quarterback runs the ball like Jalen Hurts does. I mean, come on. Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes, 300 rush yards and 2 touchdowns apiece. Joe Burrow, 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And don't even get me fucking started on Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff. They can't run the ball for shit. Meanwhile, Jalen's got 630 rushing yards and 14 rushing touchdowns, all while missing 2 3/4 of full games. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are praised for using their legs to run the ball, while Jalen is criticized for while producing better results. And for those who are arguing that, oh, they're just tush push touchdowns, guess what? Your quarterback still can't fucking do it. If y'all think it is so easy, how come your quarterback can't do the tush push yet Jalen Hurts can? Exactly. It is a quarterback's job to lead the whole offense. They don't just pass the ball, they also run the ball. They may hand the ball off. They call audibles. They are the offense's decision maker in those split seconds, and so much more. They are more than just passers. They're the leaders and the powerhouses of their team's offense. And if they are smart enough, they will do whatever it takes to win, including sacrificing stats to do what is best for the team. Whether that be to run the ball more, whether that to be to pass in only certain situations, whether to just let your running back do it, whether you as a quarterback do the whole game on your legs, whatever the case may be. So, God forbid Jalen Hurts be a team player and maybe only throw the ball 20, 30 times a game, while other quarterbacks just stat load throwing 40 to 50 times a game because they can't run the ball for shit. Another argument that's kind of stupid is that Jalen Hurts has a quote super team around him, and that makes him more of a system quarterback, claiming the team around him carries him to victory. Regarding the super team component of that, people are acting like this shit is an anomaly. Yes, the Eagles have a lot of talent on their roster. There's no denying that. But to think that this 2024 Eagles team is like the sole super team in the history of Super Bowl seasons, it is just dumb. Plus, super teams tend to make Super Bowls. And considering that teams such as the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Rams, the Bucks, and the 49ers and others have made it to the Super Bowls over the last 5 years, you could consider them super teams as well. But there's also been instances in which there were super teams who did not win the Super Bowl. For example, in 2023, you had the 49ers. They were definitely a super team. You had Debo Samuel and George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, you name it. But Brock Purdy couldn't get the job done. 2019, the Baltimore Ravens. One hell of a super team. They had the number one defense in the league to go along with it. Lamar Jackson didn't even make it to the Super Bowl, lost it in the AFC Championship game. The point being is that it's kind of dumb to argue that the reason Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl win is because he had a super team around him. There have been plenty of other super teams with quarterbacks who couldn't get the job done like Jalen Hurts did. And additionally, this super team was not healthy the entire season. Jordan Mailata missed 4 or 5 games. Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens, they have played all the regular season games, but they missed time within several games apiece due to various injuries. Lane Johnson and Mekhi Becton, they missed a game each. Our top 2 receivers missed 3 games apiece, and Dallas Goedert, our tight end one, missed 6 games. Even Jalen Hurts missed 2 full games and got injured in just a few minutes of the first quarter of a third game. There were plenty of moments where reserve linemen spent significant time in games and times where Jalen Hurts was throwing touchdown passes to guys like Grant Calcaterra, Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, and Jahan Dotson. So we can get rid of this narrative of that he's only good because he's got weapons around him. If he can deliver touchdown passes to backup tight ends, wide receiver 3 and 4s, and a practice squad receiver elevated for a couple of games. And by the way, I'm not knocking the talent of those guys. I'm just trying to make a point here. Plus, why are we critiquing someone for playing the cards he was dealt? Jalen plays the best hand in every possible situation. Shit. Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase, arguably the best receiver in the league, as well as T. Higgins, and at one point had a prime Tyler Boyd all on the same team. And those are some great fucking cards to be dealt, yet still couldn't get it done when it mattered the most. So I don't want to hear this whole super team bullshit anymore. As for the system quarterback narrative that people just love to shove down people's throats, please tell me what the fucking system is. Because I'll tell you, Jalen Hurts is the system. He has had a different offensive coordinator and play caller every single year since college. And he's been in the NFL since 2020. How can Jalen Hurts be a system quarterback if he's never had the same system for more than one season? How? His OCs in the past have utilized their own philosophies and play calling when developing their offense, but some have also worked with Jalen on highlighting his strengths and challenging his areas of need to develop them further. And since he's been a starter with a different OC each year, he has had a winning season and made the playoffs every single year. In those seasons, he achieved a 9-8 record, two 14-3 seasons, and an 11-6 season. And with that 11-6 season, that was the collapse season. He did so with a dead last ranked defense, still getting them to the playoffs. Joe Burrow couldn't do that. He had a shit defense too this last year, ranked like 25th, 26th overall, something like that. Yet he couldn't get past the 9-8 record or make the playoffs this past year. People love to say, plug any quarterback on the Eagles and they would be much better than Jalen Hurts or win 3 Super Bowls in a row or some shit like that. You plug a different quarterback in there with the exact same offense, with its philosophy, how it currently runs, yada, 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 and it would probably be horrendous, actually, because the offense isn't built for just any quarterback. Plus, Jalen Hurts is a leader, and all of his teammates and him are so like minded with their personal mental health, philosophies, faith, and so much more other like emotional, mental related commonalities. And it works for the Birds. Like, you couldn't just throw somebody like Aaron Rodgers on the Birds and expect a symbiotic relationship between him and the other Eagles offensive players. It just wouldn't work. Point being, there's no way to prove that there would be better results for the Eagles or a random quarterback thrown into this Eagles roster and this current offensive system. Okay, so to conclude this episode and this rant, at the end of the day, y'all, these lists and these discussions, as annoying yet somewhat important to discuss, are completely subjective. This list is made by NFL coaches, execs, and scouts, compiled all together by just one guy, Jeremy Fowler, who then comes up with and puts out the list for the public to see. There's tons of lists out there that have Jalen in the top 5, and there's also wrong lists that put Jalen outside of the top 10. You have all pro NFL athletes like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and most recently, Fred Warner, who have complimented Jalen Hurts and his ability to play the game so eloquently. Fred Warner said, quote, Jalen Hurts is a guy you want to play with or never face at all. Peyton Manning has expressed extremely high confidence in Jalen Hurts' ability to throw the football. Tom Brady, arguably the GOAT of NFL football, made Jalen Hurts his let's fucking go player of the game at least twice this past season, one of them being the Super Bowl matchup, praising him with things like, you're unstoppable, your rhythm is excellent, and other high value compliments. And those are guys who've played the game and are the best of the best in their positions and have a lot to show for it. Then you have dudes like Danny Parkins, Nick Wright, Chase Daniels, and others completely hating Hurts from behind a camera on national television. Daniels was what? Primarily a backup quarterback and had 9 total touchdowns over 13 NFL seasons. And Nick Wright and Danny Parkins, I don't even think I've ever played football. Not at least at a professional level. It says something when the best of the best see Jalen as a tremendous, arguably an elite quarterback, and then these analysts with no NFL achievements busting his balls every single day. They're haters. These are the same dudes who will give Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow more credit for losing Super Bowls than they do Jalen Hurts for winning a Super Bowl, which is whack as fuck considering Jalen outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both of their Super Bowl matchups, and Jalen Hurts joins Tom Brady as the only quarterbacks to defeat Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. At the end of the day, all this hate and disrespect only adds fuel to the fire that is Jalen Hurts and his ability to play football. And he knows it. He embraces it. All that matters to real Eagles fans is that Hurts plays his best football possible, and we will support him all the way. This doesn't mean that there aren't times where we can be frustrated with our quarterback. It's human nature. But at the end of the day, we will support him all the way. There's been a quote that has been going around a lot that I've seen on social media, and I'll end the episode with it. And that is, everyone is better than Jalen Hurts until it's time to play Jalen Hurts. Because what that man does is win. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at Second and 15. That's 2ND, AND15, or by the full name Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts. This episode, Second and 15, and Old City Sports Network are brought to you by Uncle John's Barbecue Stand. Located in Claymont, Delaware, check them out for some local delicious barbecue and sauces only at Uncle John's Barbecue Stand. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network. We'll see you all next time. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds!